Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, the show where we dive deep into the fascinating science and technology shaping our world. Have you ever lied on the internet? Come on, be honest. That little checkbox asking if you're over 18? It's probably the most ignored rule online. A tiny digital fib we've all told at some point. For decades, that was the internet's honor system. But that honor system is dying. Quietly, in the background of our digital lives, a new kind of gatekeeper is rising. And it's not just a checkbox. It's a sophisticated AI-powered sentinel that can scan your face, check your government ID, and analyze your behavior, all to answer one simple question: how old are you? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the complex world of digital age verification. We're going to explore the incredible technology that makes it possible, the global legal push that's making it mandatory, and the profound questions it raises about our fundamental rights to privacy, freedom, and even anonymity in the digital age. This isn't just about keeping kids off certain websites, it's about redefining the very nature of identity and access online. So buckle up, because the unseen gatekeepers are here, and they are changing everything. The big question driving this entire technological revolution is, of course, how to protect children online. The internet is an incredible tool, but it's also a place filled with peril. Studies show a shocking percentage of kids are exposed to pornography at a young age. We see constant reports linking excessive social media use in teenagers to serious mental health issues, cyberbullying, and contact with dangerous individuals. Faced with this reality, lawmakers around the world are saying, enough is enough. They're enacting a flood of new regulations. In Europe, you have the massive GDPR, or General Data Protection Regulation, and the new Digital Services Act. These rules put a huge responsibility on companies to protect minors. In the United States, it's more of a patchwork, with individual states stepping up. States like Louisiana, Texas, and Utah have passed laws forcing websites with a lot of adult content to verify every user's age. Other states like Arkansas and California are targeting social media platforms, demanding they get parental consent for users under a certain age. And this isn't just talk. The failure to comply can lead to astronomical fines and public relations nightmares for these huge tech companies. The legal tipping point in the US really came in June of 2025 with a landmark Supreme Court case. The court upheld a Texas law that required pornographic websites to verify their users' ages. The court basically said that protecting children from explicit content was a strong enough reason to create what they called an incidental burden on the free speech of adults. This ruling has opened the floodgates, and now more and more states are likely to follow suit. So the pressure is on. The law says verify, but how do you actually do that? How do you prove someone is who they say they are and as old as they claim to be through a screen? This brings us to the technological gauntlet. The methods for checking age exist on a spectrum, balancing accuracy against how much it annoys the user and invades their privacy. At one end, you have the classic self-declaration, the checkbox. It's easy, it's cheap, but it's about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. Kids, and let's be honest, adults helping kids, bypass it with ease. Regulators are now rejecting this as a real solution, which is forcing platforms to get much, much smarter. So let's look at the advanced tech. The first major step up is document-based verification. This is where you're asked to take a picture of your driver's license or passport with your phone. Behind the scenes, a technology called optical character recognition, or OCR, gets to work. Think of it as a super smart robot that can read the text on your ID, pull out your name and date of birth, and sometimes even cross-reference it with official databases to make sure it's legit. More advanced systems don't just read the text. They perform fraud analysis, scrutinizing hundreds of tiny details on the document to spot signs of forgery. It's highly accurate, but it's also a bit of a hassle for users, and there's always the risk of sophisticated fakes fooling the system. But here's where it gets really futuristic. Biometric verification. This uses your unique physical traits to figure out your age. The most common method right now is facial age estimation. Let's be very clear about this. This is not the same as facial recognition. Facial recognition is about identifying a specific person, like unlocking your phone with your face. Facial age estimation is different. It uses AI to analyze a photo or a quick video of your face, looking at things like skin texture, the structure of your face, and the presence of wrinkles to predict an age range. It doesn't know you're John Smith. It just concludes you're likely between 35 and 45. It's fast and less intrusive than uploading an ID. However, it's not perfect. The accuracy can be thrown off by bad lighting, a blurry photo, or even your facial expression. In fact, some studies have shown these AI systems can inherit our own human biases. They might overestimate the age of someone who is smiling, and they've been shown to be less accurate for older adults and people with darker skin tones. Biometrics doesn't stop at the face. Systems can also use voice recognition, analyzing your speech patterns which change as you age. And the real cutting edge is what's called multimodal biometrics. This combines multiple methods for a super robust check. For example, it might ask for a selfie and an iris scan. By cross-referencing the data from both, the system can be much more confident in its assessment and much harder to fool. Then, just when you think it can't get any more Minority Report, there's behavioral verification. This is an emerging technique that uses machine learning to analyze how you act online. It looks at your typing speed, how you move your mouse, your browsing habits, and your interaction style to guess at your age. It's not precise enough to be the only check, but it can be used to flag accounts that seem suspicious for a more thorough review. Of all the amazing tech we've talked about, there is one that stands out for its potential to solve the biggest problem in all of this: privacy. A huge concern with all these methods is that you're handing over incredibly sensitive data, your ID, your face, your voice, to countless websites. This has led to the development of something called zero-knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. This is a mind-bending cryptographic method, and it's one of the coolest fun facts in this whole story. A zero-knowledge proof allows you to prove that you know a piece of information without revealing the information itself. Imagine you have a secret password to open a door. Using a ZKP, you could prove to a guard that you know the password without ever saying or writing the password down. They would be 100% certain you know it, but they would never learn what the password is. In the world of age verification, this is a game changer. You could get your age verified once by a single trusted entity, maybe a government agency, or your bank. They would then issue you a cryptographic proof, like a digital token. From then on, whenever a website needs to know if you're over 18, you just show them this token. The website gets a simple yes or no answer without ever seeing your birthday, your name, or your face. It's the ultimate privacy-preserving tool. The widespread use of ZKPs is still in its early days, but it holds the promise of a future where we can prove our age without sacrificing our privacy. This brings us to the societal crossroads. We're standing at a point where we have to make some very difficult choices. This push for digital age verification forces us to balance the noble goal of protecting children against the preservation of our fundamental rights online. The most obvious issue is the pervasive shadow of privacy and surveillance. Every time you upload your driver's license, or let an app scan your face, you're creating a digital record. These systems require the collection and storage of incredibly sensitive data. This creates what security experts call a honeypot, a massive, centralized collection of valuable data that becomes an irresistible target for hackers. Even if the data is handled by a supposedly secure third-party company, the risk of a catastrophic data breach is always there. Beyond breaches, think about the bigger picture. Mandating age checks across the internet could normalize the idea of constant online monitoring. It builds an infrastructure where a user's every click, every view, and every interaction can be linked back to their real-world government-verified identity. This could have a massive chilling effect on free expression. Would you be as willing to research a sensitive health topic or join a political discussion if you knew your activity was being logged and tied directly to your name? This leads directly to the erosion of anonymity. The right to speak and access information anonymously has been a pillar of free speech, especially on the internet. It allows people to explore controversial ideas, to speak out against powerful interests, and to find community without fear of being targeted in their real lives. Age verification systems that demand a government ID effectively destroy that anonymity. This is a particularly dangerous threat for marginalized groups. Think about LGBTQ+ youth. For a young person who may not have support at home or at school, the internet can be a literal lifeline. It's a place to find resources, connect with a supportive community, and learn that they are not alone. Mandatory age verification can throw up huge barriers. It could prevent them from accessing these vital support networks. Or worse, it could risk outing them to unsupportive family members if parental consent is required. Vaguely written laws could even be used to censor LGBTQ+ content under the guise of protecting children. And what about the psychological impact on an entire generation growing up under this digital surveillance? While the intention is to protect, being constantly monitored and having your online world filtered can feel like a deep violation of trust. It can hinder a child's ability to develop autonomy and self-worth if they feel they aren't trusted to make their own choices. Some research even suggests that kids who face overly restrictive controls just get better at finding ways around them, which erodes trust even further. So, where do we go from here? The path forward is complicated, and there are no easy answers. It's clear that technology alone is not a silver bullet. While privacy-preserving technologies like the zero-knowledge proofs we talked about offer a hopeful path, they are just one piece of the puzzle. The tech industry has a massive responsibility to develop these tools responsibly, to fight algorithmic bias, and to establish strong standards. But we can't just rely on them to regulate themselves. History has shown that often doesn't work. The most powerful tool we have might not be technology at all, but education. A more holistic approach involves robust digital literacy education for everyone. For kids, for parents, for teachers. Empowering children with the critical thinking skills to navigate the online world safely and responsibly is a far more effective long-term solution than simply building digital walls around them. The debate over digital age verification is really a conversation about what kind of internet we want to build. How do we balance safety with freedom? What is our collective responsibility to the most vulnerable? The unseen gatekeepers are at the door, and it's up to all of us to decide how they will shape our digital future. Thanks for tuning in to Fun Facts Online. We'll see you next time.